The bedroom was dim, lit only by the city bleeding in through the windows. Shadows stretched across the walls, softening everything: the edges, the rules, the past. Jared closed the door behind them without looking at it. The sound was final. Maya stood in the center of the room, robes still loose around her shoulders, watching him like she was daring him to hesitate. He didn't. He crossed the space between them slowly, deliberately, as if savoring every step. His hands came to her waist, firm, steady, and he rested his forehead against hers. "Tell me to stop," he murmured. She shook her head. "No, I want this, and know you want it too." "Then look at me," he said. "I want to see you choose this." She lifted her eyes to his, and whatever he saw there erased the last of his restraint. He kissed her again, deeper this time, unhurried but consuming, like he had nowhere else to be and no intention of leaving. Her fingers slid into his hair, then to his chest, pulling him closer, her body pressing into his with unmistakable need. The robe slipped from her shoulders completely then, forgotten, pooling at her feet like a discarded secret. His breath stuttered. Maya. Her name sounded different now, stripped of authority, heavy with want. She took his hand and guided him backward toward the bed, never breaking eye contact. The mattress met the backs of his legs first, then he sat. Then she climbed onto him without asking, feeling his erecting beneath his pants. She settling into his lap like it was the only place she belonged. His hands tightened at her hips, not rough but honest, grounding himself in the reality of her warmth, her aroma, her closeness, her willingness. "You feel like trouble," he said quietly. She smiled against his mouth. "You came anyway, and I want to feel you in me." Their kisses slowed, deepened, turned languid, mouths learning, breathing sinking, the world narrowing to the space between them. Every touch lingered, every brush of skin carried intention. When he laid her back against the sheets, he followed her down, bracing himself over her, studying her face like she was something precious and dangerous all at once. "This isn't about control anymore," he said. She reached up, pulling him down until their lips brushed again. "It never was," she whispered. The bed creaked softly as they moved together, finding rhythm without rush, letting sensation replace words. Outside, the city lights flickered. Inside, time dissolved into heat and closeness and the sound of breath meeting breath. At last, she finally feel what she always imagines. Jared laying on top of her, penetrating her warm but yet wet vagina. With every stroke, she moans, the long-awaited moment. Later, much later, Jared lay beside her, one arm heavy across her waist, her head tucked against his shoulder. The room was quiet now, filled with the kind of silence that only comes after something real has been shared. "These changes things," he said again, softer this time. Maya traced slow patterns against his chest. "I know," she replied. "That's why I let it." He pressed a kiss to her hair, unguarded, intimate, certain. For the first time, neither of them was running. They had surrendered. Morning didn't soften anything. If anything, it sharpened it. Maya walked into Steele Tower with her head high and her pulse already racing. The memory of the night before clung to her like heat under skin, his voice in the dark, the way restraint had finally shattered, the way surrender hadn't felt like weakness at all. She wore confidence like armor, and a skirt that dared someone to notice. It was short, unapologetically so. Fabric that moved when she walked, revealing long, bare legs beneath. No extra layers, no concessions. Professional from the front, dangerous from every other angle. She felt his eyes on her the moment she stepped onto his floor. Jared was standing in his office doorway, jacket on, expression controlled, until he saw her. Then something in his gaze shifted, a flash of memory, of skin, of breath, of what they'd crossed the night before. "Maya," he said, voice even but darker than usual. She met his eyes, held them. "Mr. Steele?" The door to his office closed behind her with a quiet, familiar click. The air between them tightened instantly. "You look..." He stopped himself, jaw flexing. "Different." She set her bag down slowly, deliberately. "So do you." His knuckles rested on the edge of his desk, white with restraint. "You shouldn't have come in wearing that." Her lips curved. "You didn't tell me not to." Silence stretched, thick, humming. He crossed the room in 3 strides, stopping just short of touching her, close enough that she felt his warmth, his presence, the echo of last night still humming between them. "You're doing this on purpose," he murmured. "Yes," she said softly. "I am." His breath broke. He didn't kiss her, not yet. Instead, his hand came to her waist, then her hips, eventually under her shirt. "You're not wearing any underwear," Jared said. Maya replied, "Of course not. I am still throbbing for last night," and the reminder of exactly what she'd woken up wanting more of. "This is my office," he said, voice low. "People could walk in." She leaned closer, her voice just as quiet. "Then lock the door." He hesitated. That was all the permission she needed. She kissed him first this time, slow, knowing, pressing the memory of the night before back into his body. His control fractured instantly. His hands came to her like they'd been waiting all morning. The desk became something else entirely. The room blurred at the edges. Breath and closeness replaced thought as they moved together in a way that felt inevitable, familiar already. Her skirt rode higher as she shifted closer, and his voice dropped to her ear. "You're testing me," he said. She smiled against his jaw. "You passed the test last night." Maya unbuckles his belt, zipped his pants down, and began to please him. At that moment, she whispered, "I want to feel you in me." Jared didn't hesitate as he penetrates her warm, throbbing, wet vagina. The door opened. "Jared!" Eli froze in the doorway. The room snapped into silence. He took in the scene in one slow, unmistakable glance, the proximity, the way Jared was still inside of her. Maya didn't move, she said, didn't apologize, didn't look ashamed. "Well," Eli said quietly, "so that's how serious this is." Jared turned slowly, positioning himself just enough to shield her without breaking contact. "Get out," he said, voice cold and final. Eli's eyes flicked to Maya, curious, sharp, calculating. "So it's true," he said. "You chose him." Maya met his gaze without flinching. "I chose myself." Eli exhaled, a humorless smile tugging at his mouth. "This is going to cost you both." Jared didn't blink. "Worth it." Eli stepped back, closing the door behind him. The lock clicked. Neither of them moved for a moment. Then Maya let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. "Well," she said softly. That escalated. Jared turned back to her, eyes burning, not with anger, but with something far more dangerous. "Next time," he murmured, pulling her closer, "we won't be interrupted." Her pulse jumped. She believed him. Later that evening, The parking deck was nearly empty. Concrete echoed with distant traffic above, fluorescent lights flickering like they couldn't decide whether to stay on or give up. Jared waited beside his car, jacket still on, jaw tight, every step Eli took toward him feeding the fire already burning in his chest. "Thought you'd avoid me," Eli said, hands in his pockets, voice casual in a way that was anything but. Jared stepped forward. "What's going on between you and Maya?" Eli laughed once, short, sharp. "Straight to business. Figures." "I'm not asking again," Jared said. Eli's expression darkened, the humor draining out of it. "I was with her first." The words landed heavy. Jared didn't flinch. "She didn't belong to you," he said flatly. Eli stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Funny thing is, I thought the same about you. Then suddenly she's in your office, wearing that skirt, looking at you like a bitch she is." "Stop," Jared said. "Don't you ever call her that again, or else." Eli ignored him. "So, I'm trying to understand. Did she chase you for power?" He tilted his head, eyes sharp. "Or is she just another money-hungry bitch who knows exactly which men to fuck?" Jared moved before the sentence finished. His fist connected hard with Eli's jaw, the sound cracking through the empty deck. Eli stumbled back, shock flashing across his face before rage replaced it. "Call her that again," Jared said, voice low and lethal. "And we're going to have real problems." Eli wiped his mouth, smiling, bloody, unhinged. "She's a bitch, and I fucked her." That was it. Jared lunged. They crashed into each other, fists swinging, bodies slamming into concrete pillars. Years of unspoken rivalry, resentment, and ego came out in every hit. Eli struck back, fast and dirty, catching Jared in the ribs. Jared answered with a brutal shove, sending Eli staggering into a parked car, metal dented. Breath exploded out of Eli's chest. Neither man backed down. They fought like men who had stopped pretending this was ever just business, grappling, shoving, striking until knuckles burned and lungs screamed. No one around, no voices, no reason to stop. Finally, Eli slipped, hitting the ground hard. Jared stood over him, chest heaving, blood on his knuckles, eyes blazing. "This ends now," he said. "You don't get to talk about her like she's a thing to be traded." Eli laughed weakly from the concrete. "You really think she's yours?" Jared leaned down, close enough that Eli could feel the weight of his words. "No," he said. "I think she chose me. And that's what you can't stand." Silence settled back into the parking deck. Jared straightened, turned, and walked away, leaving Eli alone with his bruises, his jealousy, and the realization that he'd already lost more than the fight. Above them, the city kept moving, but nothing between them would ever be the same again. The knock came at 11:30 p.m. Not polite, not patient, heavy, final. Maya opened the door with damp hair and bare skin still warm from the shower, wrapped in nothing but the clean scent of soap and steam. She smiled when she saw him, soft, inviting, expectant. "You came to finish what we started at the office," she said quietly. "I was waiting for you." "I need you inside of me." Jared didn't step inside. Not yet. "I need answers," he said. The smile faded. Answers about what? Maya asked. Why are you so angry? He finally crossed the threshold, closing the door behind him with a sharp click. His face was tight, eyes dark, something raw under the surface. Eli and I just went into a full-on battle over you, he said. He said he fucked you first. The words hung in the air like smoke. Maya went very still. No, she said. We didn't. Fucked. I would never fuck Eli. Jared searched her face, trying to read what was breaking behind her eyes. Then explain, he said. She exhaled slowly, gathering herself. 2 years ago, she began, voice steady but thin. At the Christmas party, Eli drank too much. He couldn't drive. I pulled the short straw and took him home. Jared's jaw tightened, but he didn't interrupt. He was a mess, she continued. I couldn't leave him alone like that, so I stayed. On the sofa, fully dressed. I fell asleep. Her fingers curled slightly at her sides. In the middle of the night, she said quietly, I woke up because someone was touching me, kissing me, and my dress was pulled up to my waist. I told him to stop. I said his name. By that time, he reaches down and pulled my underwear off and started smelling it. This is mine's now. Her voice didn't waver, but her eyes did. He didn't. Jared felt something cold settle in his chest. I got up and ran to my car, she said. Left my things, left the apartment. I didn't look back. Silence pressed in. The next day, Maya continued, we were alone in the elevator. He told me if I didn't finish what we started, he'd tell people we slept together. Said he had proof. I still have your underwear, and no one would question it. Her mouth curved into something sharp and bitter. So I told him to go ahead. Because that's the closest he'll ever get to my pussy, and he would never in a million years taste this pot of gold. Jared blinked. You... what? Because while I was asleep, she said softly, my phone was recording everything. Because on the way to his apartment, he was letting me know how much he wants to fuck me from the first time we met. She met Jared's eyes, then unflinching. And I told him if he said one word, I'd go straight to the police. The room felt suddenly smaller. Jared took a step toward her, anger draining into something heavier, something dangerous in a different way. He lied, he said quietly. Yes, she replied, and he's been angry ever since. Jared ran a hand through his hair, breathing hard. I hit him tonight. Maya didn't look surprised. I know, she said. I could see it on you. He stopped in front of her, his hands hovering like he didn't know where to put them. I should have asked you first, he said, instead of... She stepped closer. Instead of believing him? She asked gently. You didn't. Not really. His voice broke just slightly. I wanted to tear him apart. She reached for his hands, grounding him, anchoring him in the present. I don't need you to fight for me, she said. I need you to believe me. He pulled her into his arms then, not rough, not desperate, just solid, protective, real. She rested her forehead against his chest, breathing him in. I do, he said. Completely. They stood there like that for a long moment, the weight of truth settling between them, not breaking them, but binding them. Outside, the city slept. Inside, Something finally made sense. Maya turned away from him without another word. She walked toward the bedroom, slow and unguarded, every step intentional. The air followed her, warm, scented, electric. At the doorway, she paused and glanced back over her shoulder. "Are you coming?" she asked softly. "Or just going to stand there looking at my ass?" Jared stared like the world had narrowed to her alone, like it was the first time he'd ever seen her naked. He whispered to himself, "Damn." She didn't wait for his answer. The bedroom light was low, amber, forgiving. She climbed onto the bed and reclined against the pillows, legs completely open, completely unafraid. When she looked at him again, there was no challenge in her eyes, only invitation. "Well?" she murmured. "Are you going to get it?" Jared closed the door behind him. The sound was deliberate. He approached the bed slowly, eyes never leaving her, taking her in like he needed to memorize every curve, every breath, every quiet sound she made just waiting for him. "You have no idea," he said, voice rough and controlled, "what you do to me." She smiled. He stopped at the edge of the bed and looked down at her, not as a man claiming something, but as one who had been undone. "Tonight," he said quietly, "you're going to forget everything except my name." Her breath hitched. He lowered himself toward her, hands firm, mouth trailing her legs down to her thighs. His presence alone made her arch, made her wet, made her fingers curl into the sheets. When his lips finally found her pussy, it wasn't rushed. It was deliberate, knowing, devastating. Her reaction was immediate. She arches her back, legs shaking. A sound escaped her that she didn't bother to restrain. "Oh, Jared, I want you so bad," as his tongue moves over her wet vagina. He stayed there, unhurried, relentless in the way only a man who knows he's in control can be. Every movement pulled her deeper into sensation, every breath closer to the edge. "Say it," he murmured against her, voice dark with promise. She gasped his name again, louder this time, body responding without permission. He smiled against her throbbing, wet pussy. Maya screamed, "Don't stop!" With every stroke of his tongue, Maya's body shivered in ecstasy. Time blurred, the world reduced to heat, sound, and the way her body answered him like it had been waiting forever. When he finally rose from between her legs, Maya still laid there shivering. Jared moves up to her nipples and began sucking on them. Her hands found his dick, and she began to stroke it. Maya said softly, "I want to feel you in me." Jared slowly rubs the head of his dick against her clit as Maya's body curls with pleasure. She looked up at him, flushed, open, undone. "You were right," she whispered. "This is everything." His forehead rested against hers. "This," he said softly, "is just the beginning." As he penetrates her, a few moments later, "Oh," Jared says, "I am coming." Maya squeezed her pussy around his dick, and Jared released in her. Friday arrived heavy with promise. The weekend pressed close, and Maya felt it in her bones as she stepped out of her car into the parking deck, loose-limbed, satisfied, still humming with the memory of last night. Every step toward the elevator felt lighter, like she'd finally reclaimed something that had been taken from her long ago. "Feeling good?" Eli's voice cut through the space like a blade. She stopped. He stood near the lobby entrance, jaw bruised, eyes dark with something ugly and unresolved. "You bitch," he said quietly. You let your man attack me. Maya turned slowly, her expression calm, dangerous. That? She replied. That served you right. He scoffed. You really think you're untouchable now? She stepped closer, close enough that he had to look at her. How dare you, she said evenly, tell anyone you slept with me. Eli smirked. People believe what they want. Maya smiled then, but there was no warmth in it. She lifted her skirt just enough to make his breath catch, reached beneath, and pulled away the last thing he would ever be allowed to imagine owning. She tossed her underwear at his chest. It landed against him like a slap. Here, she said softly. Add it to your collection. Eli froze, staring at what he held. You will never, Maya continued, her voice calm and lethal, get the chance you tried to steal. Now smell it, you perv, because my pussy belongs to Jared and Jared only. The elevator doors slid open behind her. She didn't look back. Eli froze in place, stood there, and watched as Maya walked away. By the time she reached Jared's office, her pulse was racing for an entirely different reason. She closed the door behind her and crossed the room without hesitation, sitting on the edge of his desk like she belonged there. Jared looked up. For a moment, he just stared, like an angel had walked in wearing confidence and intent instead of wings. You're dangerous, he said quietly. You coming for more? She leaned in, lowering her voice. I want more, but first, let me take care of you. She unzipped his pants, pull his dick out, and start sucking on it. His breath hitched. Maya, he warned, this is not the place. She smiled, then continued sucking on his dick. She paused for a second. Then don't stop me, she whispered. He swallowed hard, control fraying, the office suddenly feeling very small, very private. Just let go, she said. For me. I want you to come in my mouth. Jared couldn't resist. He releases everything he got in her mouth. Outside the door, the world carried on. Inside, power shifted again. By noon, the building was buzzing. Whispers moved faster than elevators. Eyes followed Maya through the halls, not curious anymore, but cautious. Something had shifted, and everyone could feel it. Even the air on Jared's floor felt different, tighter, like it was waiting for an announcement. At 1 p.m. sharp, Jared called an executive meeting. Board members, senior leadership, legal, HR. Maya took her seat at the long glass table, posture calm, expression unreadable. She didn't look at Eli when he walked in late, jaw still faintly bruised, eyes burning holes in the room. Jared entered last. The room went silent. He didn't sit. I'll keep this brief, he said, voice steady, unmistakably in command. There have been rumors circulating in this company about my leadership, about my integrity, about Maya Clarke. A few heads snapped up. Maya's pulse stayed steady. She already knew what was coming. I want to be very clear, Jared continued. Any insinuation that Ms. Clarke used her position, her body, or her proximity to me to gain advantage is false. Eli shifted in his seat. Jared's gaze locked onto him, cold, surgical. Any claim that she engaged in inappropriate behavior with anyone in this room, past or present, is also false. The silence was deafening. Maya Clarke is here because she's exceptional, Jared said, and because I chose her. Murmurs rippled through the room. Yes, Jared added calmly. I am choosing her publicly, professionally, personally. HR stiffened. Legal glanced at one another. I am formally disclosing a consensual relationship, he said, effective immediately. She will be reassigned to report directly to the board, not to me. Maya inhaled slowly. This is non-negotiable, Jared finished. Any retaliation, speculation, or harassment, explicit or implied, will result in termination. He paused, then delivered the final blow. As for false statements, coercion, or threats made against Ms. Clarke, he said evenly, legal counsel has been notified. Evidence exists. This company does not protect predators. Eli went pale. The meeting ended minutes later. No discussion, no objections. Jared didn't look back as he left the room. Maya remained seated until the room emptied. When she finally stood, she felt taller, untouchable. Later, in Jared's office, the door closed softly behind her. That was final, she said. He nodded. It needed to be. She stepped closer, voice low. You didn't have to do that. Yes, he said, meeting her eyes. I did. The space between them hummed, not with secrecy anymore, but with something bolder. You just claimed me, she said. No, he replied quietly. I stood beside you. She smiled, slow and dangerous. Same thing. Outside the glass walls, the company adjusted to a new reality. Inside, nothing would ever be hidden again. Friday evening settled over the city like a held breath. The office emptied in waves, heels clicking, laughter fading, elevators swallowing people whole as the long weekend called them home. Maya stayed behind, just long enough to finish one last task when she noticed the folded note waiting on her desk. Jared's handwriting. I want you for the entire weekend. I have a house far away from here. No meetings, no eyes, no interruptions. Just us. A car will pick you up tonight. Her heart warmed instantly. She smiled to herself, shut down her computer, and gathered her things in a rush of excitement so sharp it made her hands tremble. She didn't notice the note slipping free, left behind like a secret meant to be discovered. Minutes later, Eli passed her desk. He stopped, read, and whispered, barely audible, I'm ending this, one way or another. At her apartment, Maya packed for the weekend. All she can think about was Jared making love to her. Maya whispered to herself, just thinking about him, my pussy is getting wet. The car arrived just after dark. Maya slid into the back seat, pulse quick, thoughts already far from the city. She imagined silence, distance, Jared without walls between them, somewhere unseen. She didn't notice the second set of headlights pulling out behind them. Little did she know, Eli is following her. The drive stretched on, turns winding deeper into darkness, the city replaced by trees, road narrowed, the signal gone. She felt safe. Anticipation drowned out everything else. When the car finally stopped, the house stood alone, lights glowing warm against the night. Jared was waiting at the door. The moment she stepped inside, he pulled her close. Not rushed, not hungry, but grounding, like he needed to confirm she was real. We're alone at last, he said softly. She didn't answer with words, just her action. Maya took her coat off, and with nothing under it, Maya whispered, I am all yours, Jared. Now come and taste it. Inside, time unraveled. The house filled with quiet sounds, breath, murmured names, the soft creak of floors. The distance they'd carried for months dissolved completely. What followed wasn't rushed or hidden. It was claiming and surrender all at once. Heat built slowly, deliberately, until thought became impossible. Later, they lay tangled in the dark, bodies still humming, the silence heavy and earned. Then, glass shattered. Jared was on his feet instantly. In the kitchen, shadows moved. A figure stepped forward. Eli, dressed in black, eyes bloodshot, a gun shaking slightly in his hand. "You took her from me," he said. "She was supposed to be mine." Jared stepped in front of Maya without hesitation. "She chose," he said, "and you lost." Maya came forward anyway, robe loose around her, hair wild, looking like someone who had been thoroughly, undeniably chosen. "I am not yours," she said clearly. "I never was, and I never will be." Eli's grip faltered. "You ruined everything," he said. "I followed you. I watched. I won't disappear quietly." The gun wavered. Jared didn't move. "You don't get to rewrite the truth," he said. "And you don't get to threaten her again." Sirens cut through the night, distant, growing closer. Eli froze. Maya's voice was steady. "I already told them about everything." The gun slipped from Eli's hand and hit the floor. Red and blue lights flooded the windows moments later. Dawn came pale and quiet. Maya stood by the window, wrapped in Jared's shirt, resting her head on his chest. "It's over," he said. She nodded. "And nothing goes back." He pressed his forehead to hers. "Good." Some choices can't be undone, and neither of them wanted to try. Night wrapped the house tighter after the sirens faded into distance. The quiet that followed wasn't peace. It was aftermath. Jared locked the door, then leaned his forehead against it, breathing like a man who had just outrun something he couldn't see. Maya stood a few steps behind him, wrapped in his shirt, the fabric carrying his warmth, his scent, the echo of sex before the world crashed in. Neither spoke for a long moment. When he turned, his eyes found her like a vow. "You should hate me for bringing this here," he said. She crossed the room and put her hands on his chest, steadying him the way he'd steadied her so many times. "I don't," she said. "I hate that it took this to end it." "Eli needs help, and we can't help him." His hands came up to her arms, gentle, reverent, like he was afraid she might disappear if he gripped too tightly. "We don't get to pretend anymore," he said. "Not about us, not about what we want." Her thumb brushed his jaw, slow, intentional. "Then don't." They moved back to the bedroom together, not with urgency this time, but with gravity, each step a choice. The door closed softly behind them, sealing the night out. Inside, the air was warm and low-lit. She let the shirt fall away. He didn't rush her. He looked at her the way men do when desire has crossed into something more dangerous, something that rewires the mind. "You still want this?" he asked. She drew him down between her legs. "Make me come." Jared slowly runs his tongue over her clit while playing with her nipples. The world narrowed to touch and breath and the way bodies remember each other instantly. He took his time as she reaches to climax, like this night demanded proof. Her rhythmic, muscular contractions in her pelvic region accompanied by increased heart rate. Her brain released feel-good hormones, pulling him closer until there was no space left for doubt. "Don't hold back," she whispered. "Not tonight." He didn't. "Jared, I am coming!" He stuck his tongue deep in her vagina as her body shivered. The bed creaked under the weight of them as the storm rebuilt, stronger, darker, unafraid. Every movement felt like a claim, every sound a confession. She arched into him, breath breaking, grounding herself in the way he said her name like it was the only one that mattered. As he moves to her breast, she whispered, "Fuck me, Jared. Fuck me. I want you so bad. I need your dick in me." When it finally crested, it wasn't explosive. It was consuming. The kind that leaves you trembling long after, mind blank, heart racing, knowing something permanent has just been written into you. Later, much later, the house still. His arms wrapped around her, protective without asking permission. "We crossed a line," she said, "and you belong to me." He pressed his mouth to her hair. "We burned it down." She good. Outside, the woods stood silent. Somewhere beyond them, consequences waited. Careers would shift, stories would spread, names would be spoken carefully. But here, now, there was only this. Two people who had chosen each other in the darkest moment and refused to let go. Some endings don't close doors. They lock them from the inside. In that bedroom, with Jared between her legs.